Welcome into another edition of the James Boyd Podcast. I am James Boyd, joined by my editor, Jim Aiello. And we're back, Jim. Took a few weeks off. I went on vacation. You went on vacation. Congrats to your sister again on getting married.
Thanks. Yeah.
And yeah, so it is draft week. I know a few of you all reached out. I was like, where's the podcast? And I'm just trying to grind through a lot of pre-draft
Yeah.
info and documents and projects that I'm really grateful for you all participating in. Got a few more hurdles to get through, but draft week is here, baby. It's here, Jim.
I'm pumped. Like I said, I'm definitely at the point now where I'm like sick of speculation. I'm sick of talking about it. I'm sick of trying to figure out who makes more sense for the Colts, Colston Loveland or Tyler Warren, or like I want to see what happens, and like I said, I want to judge it based on that because I get to the point now where like speculating is we've done it. We're going in circles now, so let's just get to it and do it. So I'm pumped for the week.
Yeah, I mean, we should be, right? This is when everything kind of hits the fan and there's an opportunity to kind of dissect real players because right now everything's a theory. Every mock draft you put out is great or horrible because it's like this will never happen, this will happen. We truly don't know. I mean, last year, what was it, like 6 quarterbacks in the first 12 picks? And I
Yeah.
want to say it was, 14 straight offensive players before the Colts broke the trend with Laiatu Latu at 15. So a lot of different things can certainly take place here over the next couple of days. But let's start with this. The annual Chris Ballard pre-draft press conference.
Yeah.
There was a lot to sort of cover, and some of it, I would say, was not draft related. We'll get into that. But the biggest takeaway, I think that was draft related, had to do with the tight ends and,
Yeah.
how he talked about them. He loves Jack Doyle. He went on another rant about Jack Doyle. If you read my story in The Athletic this morning, there was, or yesterday actually, there was a lot of Jack Doyle love, which,
Yeah.
really comes in reference, Jim, from him saying they need a person that can be a 3-down tight end. And I thought some of the answers he gave were a little revealing as to how he'll approach this position in the draft.
Yeah. I think he. Oh man, like I said, we talked on the phone yesterday. I got into like full conspiracy mode with you.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Because no, I mean, you were like, man, he keeps talking about Jack Doyle, and I was like, I keep thinking that means at least listen. I keep thinking. I was listening to him talk, watching him live, and I'm like, God, it sounds like he wants a veteran tight end. It just sounds like he wants a guy he can drop in and knows he's going to do his job, which is what he was praising Jack Doyle for. Right? It was like very underrated, even though he was a two-time Pro Bowler. But a guy like you knew he wasn't going to stretch the middle of the field. He wasn't going to be. He's not some athletic freak. I mean, he was an undrafted player for a reason, but he became super reliable blocker. He became he caught everything for the most part, and he was money over the middle. I mean, 7, 8 yards at a time. I mean, it wasn't going to like get a bunch of yards after the catch or anything like that, but he just became this guy that you could count on over the middle of the field. And I kept thinking the way Ballard was reminiscing about having a Jack Doyle on his team, it just made me feel like, man, he just wants somebody he knows is going to be able to do it. And I just keep thinking that Dallas Goedert thing just makes a lot of sense to me. It really does. So I don't know. I'm not saying there's guaranteed to be a trade or anything like that, but obviously he's very familiar with Shane Steichen. Obviously you can count on him to run block pretty well. Again, not to say he's like a star run blocker, but he was part of that Eagles incredible ecosystem there for Saquon Barkley. He catches the ball well. Again, he knows the Steichen offense. I just if the price is right, I could see Ballard pulling the trigger on that either, maybe not even on day one, but like day two, thinking like, okay, we didn't get Warren or Loveland, or we didn't want him or them, or they're gone before, whatever may happen. Maybe you target a veteran tight end to drop into this thing. Again, I'm totally speculating. We are fully in this mode of this time of the draft season, but that's kind of the way I was hearing it yesterday.
Yeah, you got to couch everything right to make sure that you don't lead anybody astray. But
Yeah.
to your point, Jim, I think that what stood out to me was him saying, you get in trouble when you reach for a player. We're not
Right.
going to go chase a player. And so to me, I was like, am I reading the tea leaves correctly? Does that mean they won't trade up, for a Tyler Warren or for a Colson
Right.
Loveland? And, he did mention that he believes this draft class may not have the same level of high-end talent. That's his quote, as they've had in years past, but there is depth there. And one of the positions that has been lauded for most of the depth in this year's class is tight end.
Yep.
And so to me, I took that as, man, the Colts are probably going to be patient at 14. If it comes down to Tyler Warren or Colson Loveland or somebody else, at a different position, they'll be patient with kind of evaluating that process. And then two, when he said, you know, our board is different than the outside world, the
Yeah.
reaction I got from the fan base, and I get it, they're like, well, how about you listen to us for a second because it hasn't worked out very well during your tenure. I get all that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I thought that what he said was fine. Like, I didn't think that that was some really inflammatory remark because
Yeah.
he also said that a lot of teams have different boards. And, I'm not going to pretend for a second that my mock draft simulators and, shout out to Dane Brugler, who's a beast. He probably could go toe to toe with some of them on players.
Oh
Me,
yeah.
I can't. I'm just reading the beast. I'm only, getting information secondary or third party, sources, whereas they're hands on with these players. They're meeting them. They're shaking hands. They're doing the drills and all those things. So yes, their board is going to look different. I think not wildly different, but there's certainly going to be some marks there where maybe they differ from like what the general public thinks, which is fine. And I think one of the ways Chris Ballard kind of kept their thinking under wraps and protected it more than he has in years past was by not disclosing how many first round grades they have.
Yeah.
In years past, he told us.
That was weird.
And after talking to Joel A. Erickson from Indy Star earlier this morning on 107.5 The Fan, we kind of, talked about this as well as Kevin Bowen, where it's like, man, do you think that's because they don't think they have a lot of first round grades on players? And when you're picking 14, do you want to say publicly, you know what? Yeah, you know what? Yeah. We only got about 12 guys with first round grades realistically. Does that affect your ability to trade back or to trade up, whatever the case may be? In that scenario, I think it's the ability to trade back. You want to be, if you're at 14, you want to be hyping up all these players. Oh man, there's a boatload of talent. There's a ton of guys you can come up and get because you want to keep your flexibility as well. And we'll dive into some mock draft scenarios and I'll kind of tease that a bit. Jim's gonna put me through a couple of rounds, live here, and we'll. I'll react in real time. This isn't where I get to just hit the refresh button and start over because I didn't like what the computer did. This is going to be
one
a real
shot
deal, right? And again, when the real thing rolls around for Chris Ballard, how do you kind of respond to that? Yep. And again, when it comes to trading back, is that a possibility if your best guys or guys you would want to pick at 14 are gone? And I still think they're pretty fluid at the position itself. I know we talk so much about tight end, Jim, but you've hammered, hey, offensive line, defensive line, linebacker. So there's a couple of ways they could go, and that just makes it all the more enticing for me.
I thought your mock draft, the one you published this week on Monday, where you didn't take Tyler Warren, he wasn't there for you, but you had the opportunity to take Colston Loveland at 14, and you decided to trade back. I think that if presented that exact scenario, I actually think with Tyler Warren on the board, maybe he would even trade back again. It felt very Chris Ballard to me to want to move back, to not want to take a tight end in the first round. Though again, maybe he does have Tyler Warren or Colston Loveland as like blue chippers. Like there's one of the 12 or whatever guys that he has as blue chip talent. And you would take him at 14, maybe. But I really liked the idea of you saying, because we kind of talked through this process of like, I'm going to trade back from 14. I got an offer from 20, was with Denver in this scenario, and if Loveland falls, great. If Jahad Campbell falls, great. If one of the offensive linemen falls that we can plug in at guard, cool. Like the Colts have enough options, and they're not in desperate need to add a certain play. Again, they need an upgraded tight end, but they're not in desperate need to fill these spots where they have to draft somebody who's on the board at 14. So let's move back. I think did you get an extra 3 out of that trade?
I got an extra 3, in that swap.
And I love that.
I thought that value was pretty good. And again, even in that exercise, I didn't necessarily get what I wanted because I traded back to hopefully get, Colston Loveland still at 20, but he wasn't there. Yeah. And you have to be able to pivot. And I thought that, again, because of the depth in this year's tight end class in particular, I can do that. And so I would not be shocked if that is a real possibility come, Wednesday, Thursday. I'm sorry, not Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of this week when we have the first and obviously second and third rounds going on those 2 days. So other things that stood out from Chris Ballard and his annual pre-draft press conference, the other big topic is the quarterback. Yeah, he did say they're open to drafting one. He even said, when he was asked specifically, would you consider drafting one in the first round? And he said tongue in cheek, like, if he's good enough, we'll take him. And, and if you want to create whatever narrative you can do that. So he knows how to play the game. He knows that we're going to ask these questions, but at the same time, I kind of pressed him on what do you want to see out of these guys? And, shout out to Chris Ballard for correcting me on when their offseason program starts. It is not starting yesterday, as I told him in the press conference, and he corrected me in the spot. It started today. But I do want to say real quick here, the NFL sent us the schedule, and their info says the 21st. So
Okay, well,
am I really wrong? You know what I'm saying? But getting back to the point, and he still answered the question. And for those, I got this question a couple of times, how did I feel about him saying that, or was it condescending? No, that's our relationship. It's fine. I didn't feel offended at all. I've thrown jabs at him. He threw one back at me. And just to remind everyone, we talk all the time, like off camera, off air. So there's a relationship there that maybe you don't understand fully. But no, there was not any like tension there. He threw the jab. I laughed it off. You can't see my face in the room, and it's fine. But getting back to the question, which I still was going to ask, how do you evaluate both quarterbacks and what do you want to see to determine who's the winner?
right.
And, he didn't really answer in specifics. He kind of danced around the question and kind of left it pretty open ended. But I thought it was very interesting that, he mentioned, sometimes you got to be bad before you can be good. And I was like, that's very true for these guys because they've been more bad than good.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, he slipped this part in here, and this is where we were spiraling on the phone afterwards, Jim. At some point, we're probably going to need both of them. That's what he said. He said, I'm a betting man. We're going to need both. And before we get into like the, each player has to play better part, let's start with that, Jim. What was your interpretation of that? Because once you gave it to me, I kind of was like, I hadn't thought about that in the moment, but it makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, it was just injuries, honestly. Like Anthony Richardson obviously has not been able to stay healthy. And yeah, I think the quote was something. If I were a betting man, I think we'd need both. And to me, it was like, yeah, if you're going to bet on what's going to happen this year, Anthony Richardson's going to get hurt because that's what you've seen happen the last couple of years. You don't want it to happen. You hope it doesn't happen this year. Maybe the bad luck has run out, but so far in the NFL and honestly through high school and college, that's what you've seen from Anthony Richardson is that he gets hurt. Daniel Jones doesn't have quite as an extensive injury history, but he does have one. I mean, there is a track record there. He tore his ACL. He's had neck issues. There's been some serious injuries for Daniel Jones, too. Again, he hasn't missed as much time as Anthony Richardson has. So if he ends up being the starter, I think Ballard's point is, yeah, we might see Anthony Richardson out there. And if Richardson ends up being the starter, he might get hurt. We'll have to see Daniel Jones out there. So part of the reason, I mean, it was honestly the number one thing that Chris Ballard said in his post-season press conference.
Good point.
Before he got to Anthony Richardson and the quality of play, the first thing he said was he has not proven he can be healthy. He can stay. He can last the whole season. So we have to add somebody we can trust and then who can be competition. And that's what he did with Daniel Jones.
Yes, and to give you all some numbers here. So Anthony has missed 17 games due to injury through his first two seasons. Now, the bulk of that, 12 of those absences, I believe, were due to the shoulder as a rookie. So I don't necessarily want to erase that, but just to give the full context of it, like it hasn't been, this injury, that injury, this injury. It's been a couple of those times, but the bulk of those absences were due to the shoulder injury,
right,
in his rookie season. And then as far as Daniel Jones goes, he's also missed 17 games due to injury. You'll love this, Jim. I spent probably 20 minutes yesterday going back through Daniel Jones's career playing log and trying to decipher and trying to verify cross-reference from our stuff at The Athletic and also Googling some things like, okay, did he miss this game because they rested because they, 1 year when they went to the playoffs, they rested the final game. So that was an injury. Then it was was he benched or was he hurt? And so I got it all squared away. He's also missed 17 games. But the catch with him is he's missed at least multiple games due to injury in 4 of his 6 seasons.
Yeah.
So again, it's a smaller, injury rate, but there is still a real possibility that he might not be out there for full season, considering how both quarterbacks play. They're both, dual threat. They're going to take hits to their legs. They're going to, be exposed more than the traditional pocket passers.
Yep.
And so does that factor into your decision? So I kind of view this quarterback competition as, one, obviously the big story of the offseason, but two, an ongoing story throughout the season, whether it's for play or for availability. I don't think either quarterback, no matter who wins the job, will necessarily have it where we're all just okay, it's theirs or it's nothing. No, I think you're always going to be looking over your shoulder because of just your track record as players and your availability. So that's certainly something to factor in. And I thought that Chris Ballard kind of gave us a window into that. And then to kind of go back to the original point that I made, you have to play bad before you can be good. You have to be bad before you can be good
Right.
sometimes.
Yeah.
And I don't know what to make of that one, Jim. I was like, would I have said that publicly? What he was honest. I'll give him credit for that, but
Yeah.
I don't know if I hear that like as a player or if I hear that as like the fan base. I'm just like, and I mean another player on the team. I'm like, man, I hope it's more good than bad. Like it
Yeah.
was like a realistic but backhanded compliment when it came to both players. Like, yeah, they've but what else can you say? You know what I mean? Like, so
Yeah.
how did you feel about maybe how candid Chris Ballard was when it came to the
Yeah.
quarterback competition?
So I will say this about Daniel Jones: there's no covering it up, right? Like he was drafted to be the franchise quarterback of the Giants, and it didn't work out. Like for whatever reasons, all that stuff. Like he played poorly at many times throughout his career. Played well sometimes too, but played poorly throughout his career. Didn't make it. Richardson is on that track right now. He has played not well enough to be considered the franchise quarterback of his team. Otherwise, they wouldn't have brought in a guy like Daniel Jones. So
Mm-hmm.
that's where we're at. Chris Ballard is being honest about it. I think the leash on the we're just going to be optimistic no matter what. Anthony Richardson is gone. It's over. The lease ran out. He had 2 years of it. He didn't earn it, and we've talked about this 100 times. He didn't earn it in multiple ways. Didn't earn it with his play on the field. Didn't earn it with his the way he prepared off the field.
Right.
Didn't earn it with a lot of this stuff. So we're done. We're not going to just praise him without saying, "Hey, he's young." He's again, yeah, yes, he's young, and there are some maturity things, and he was naive. We've been through all of this, but I think, and this goes even to I think the question that was asked about, like, how is he doing with the quarterback coach this year? Like, what's been his progress? I think you and I talked about this on the phone too. I think Ballard's not going to praise him a ton. He's not going to go, oh, he's doing great. He's doing this. That's over.
Yeah,
That's gone
yeah. I
now.
noticed that too. Hmm.
We're not doing that anymore. He's got to earn this. He's got to earn QB1. He's got to beat out Daniel Jones. This is a legitimate competition. I'm not going to, and I'm saying but Chris Ballard, I'm not going to say anything that's going to tilt the scales. I'm not going to say anything that's going to make it seem like he's the favorite. I don't want him to think for 1 second that he's the favorite because he's got to earn it. So
Right.
that's where I think the Colts and particularly Chris Ballard are at is like, this is a legit 50-50 quarterback competition. We're supporting Anthony. We're supporting Daniel Jones, but someone's got to win it and someone's got to prove it. And I think that's where they're at right now. Again, I think the optimism of being the top 5 pick and he's the face of the franchise, like that's gone. Like you just got to earn it now. Like it's and if it doesn't happen this year, everyone's probably gone. So
Oh, absolutely. And like I said, I believe on the pod, and if I didn't say it just yet, it was off air, but we'll be talking to Anthony Richardson Sr. later today, and maybe I'll circle back and kind of check in with you all again before the draft to kind of let you know what he says about his progress. Because the other thing beyond the competition is like, what have you done to tangibly try to make yourself better? He's been working with Chris Hess, who's like the biometric expert that Josh Allen worked with to refine his throwing motion. Obviously, Josh Allen is the reigning league MVP at this point.
right.
And so what has that progress looked like for Anthony? What things has he worked on? So I think from an on-field standpoint, that's also very interesting to hear from his perspective on what he needs to improve to, again, go out there, win the job, not only win the job, but to prove to the Colts that I am your long-term plan at quarterback. I am the guy you drafted me to be, number 4, which is a franchise pillar. So
Right.
we'll certainly see from there. Other little cliff notes from Chris Ballard's pre-draft presser. Got into a little bit about Matt Gay and cutting him, and I thought it was. I'm not buying the reasoning, Jim. It's more about Spencer Strader than it is about Matt Gay. I think they just lost faith in Matt Gay, and he was expensive.
Yeah.
And now I will say I'm still shocked that it happened so early because it's like, why don't you just have him compete? Even if you do think that Spencer Strader is going to win the job, why not have him come in and compete? That was very odd to me, and I'm just not buying we believe in Spencer Strader so much. Like, do you? The guy has 5 made kicks in his career as a rookie, and I get it. He was, Chris Ballard was really talking him up. He did it with 2
Yep.
different franchises, last year, well, 3 because he kicked, for the Colts and he kicked for the Jets and kicked for the Chiefs, but he was not kicking for the Chiefs in the playoffs. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I don't know how to feel about that. I thought that was a little bit odd. And, again, to be fair to Matt Gay, yes, he struggled, but he did not miss from inside 50 last year. Now you're hitching your wagon, presumably, to a guy who's coming off his rookie season with 5 made kicks. and none of them beyond 50 yards. A couple of them were chip shots. Is this going to be something we revisit, Jim? Like I don't know how to feel about that.
I, as you're talking, I was pulling up. You made me just want to pull up the beast, and
Seriously.
I'm not kidding. And I'm looking. I see. I'll give a quick shout out to Charlotte Carroll, one of our Giants beat writers, who in her big board, which James put out his top 40. She put out her top 40, but like there are two. Dane Brugler gave two draftable grades to two kickers. I don't necessarily know that means the kickers are going to get drafted because a lot of times they don't. But I do think that there's a real potential based on what you've been talking about here with Schrader that they're gonna make a high priority player under UDFA, one of these kickers. And again, I would highly encourage you guys to go to the Beast and read about these guys. This Andres, I'm not gonna get this Borregales. He's the Miami's kicker last year, but I believe he kicked 94. He made 94% of his field goals last year with Miami. I think that was the number that I read. Very, very, very good kicker. Again, I'm not saying that's the guy that the Colts are going to go get, but to your point, Ballard's been talking all about competition this year. I am totally with you on there was something about Matt Gay that he didn't want anymore. Like can't be all Schrader. I think they're going to bring in somebody. So if you're a Colts fan who's obsessed with the draft and wants to know who they're going to take either in the draft or in the UDFA process, go familiarize yourself with some of these kickers because I think one of them is going to be with the Colts by next week. I really do.
Yeah. I mean, that's certainly going to be something. And then on top of that, he mentioned that Jalen Carlisle is recovering from offseason shoulder surgery. He did miss some time last year with shoulder and fibula injuries. I believe he missed 7 games as a rookie. And I wonder, is that a factor? Would you consider drafting a linebacker earlier, or because Jalen Carlisle might be working his way back up to full strength? He said he should be ready by camp. That was Chris Ballard's words. But I'm just curious to see how he responds to it, because I would imagine Jalen Carlisle is a candidate to start next to Zaire Franklin.
Yeah.
Just he's a rangier linebacker, safety turn linebacker, showed some promise last year, got hurt. And is that a factor? And then, like I said, there's a couple other things that I found interesting. He didn't mention, like I said, the first round grades, but he did, kind of double down on his RAS, his relative athletic scores. He's like, we take traits. That is very clear. So I wouldn't expect that to change. And to Ballard's credit, he never really indicated that they would change their draft philosophy. A lot of his stuff that he said earlier this offseason was about free agency and obviously the quarterback, and we've seen pivots there. But the draft, he's been pretty adamant about staying, kind of how they've been. And then also, when you look at just the pressure he's under, he said he feels no added pressure to make like a quick, decisive win now move to help the team or help, his tenure rather. He was saying, I'll never jeopardize a franchise like that. Credit to him, Jim, for being that patient. But, man, I'm like, do you not feel a little bit? You know what I'm saying? Like, just even a little bit to say, I got to win right now?
I think he's saying what he needs to say, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's it. He's been doing this for 9 years. This is his 9th draft, and he's been in the NFL for a long time, obviously, before that. So maybe he really doesn't feel the pressure of this anymore. Like, he's just so accustomed to it. But
yeah,
I think if he took the time to think about what the stakes are this year, I think he would understand. And I think he does understand.
Yeah.
Where things are in terms of the pressure on this draft and the pressure to get things right. Now, something we've talked about already. I think he does, because I think we've seen him operate differently this offseason, right? We've seen the way he's operated in free agency. He's been more decisive, more aggressive than he has been in the past. So should I circle back to my Dallas Goedert theories? No,
yes.
But like,
feel free.
No, I'm just saying, like, I do think that he understands the stakes of the season. I think we've seen that in the way that he's operated this offseason, and I wouldn't be surprised to see it appear in the draft. Now, he's usually pretty measured in the draft, so I wouldn't expect anything huge. I don't think they're, the Browns and Giants are taking calls at 2 and 3. I don't think the Colts are calling to move up, but it'd be fun if they did. But no, I don't think that's going to happen. Even though, again, we talked about this last year. I think I give it more credit than you do, because I get in he tried to trade up with the Giants at 6, and you're like, yeah, he tried, but he didn't do it, so you don't get any points for that, which is fair. It's a fair interpretation.
I tried to go to the NFL and the NBA. Didn't happen.
You're right. You're right.
The NFL and the NBA ain't about to try to pay me, so, I mean, at some point, the trying is the issue. You have to just go out there and do. So
So yes, you're not wrong. So, but I wouldn't be surprised if he does something that's maybe a little more aggressive if there's somebody that he really likes to go get because we've seen this aggressive version of
Yeah.
Ballard, a little more aggressive version of Ballard this offseason. So, but yeah, to your point, I think he must feel the pressure whether or not he wants to admit it or not. So,
All
uh,
right.
speaking of
Well,
pressure, are we gonna get to put you on the clock here
I
or
was gonna
what?
say I'm ready. I just want to run through some quick things. So to
Okay.
give you all a rundown, I do have my 7 round final mock draft out. Please go check that out. Tell me what you like, what you didn't like. I'm always open to suggestions or players that interest you because at this point I feel like the more players I read about, the better. Just so when day 2 and day 3 roll around, I'm not sitting up there wondering who is that. Where'd he come from? It's always a good feeling to at least have some reference points. So the more players you all like, send them to me. I'll read about them myself, give you my opinions on them, all those things. Like I said, we have the Ballard takeaway piece, and then on top of that, we do have our Indianapolis Colts NFL draft guide, which will
Yep.
include all this stuff in one place. So you don't have to go around clicking a bunch of different places. So feel free to check that out. Again, we're always interested in hearing feedback. Did you like some of the projects we did during the pre-draft process this year? What you didn't like, whatever. I enjoy it. You all have been a blast for the listeners. Both on the pod, the radio, Twitter. Chiming in when I'm asking for help. Hey, I need ideas for this. You all are all very helpful for that. So now, since I kept putting the spot on you all and putting pressure on Jim as well to make sure I hit these deadlines, I am now on the clock, I
Let's
suppose.
do it.
So,
I'm gonna fire up Pro Football Networks and Sports Network. Like I said Pro Football and Sports Network. I feel like they changed their name. Their mock draft simulator, which is fantastic. We're gonna do 3 rounds so we don't have to test James's now. He's it's not Dan Brugler. We're not gonna test him
look, can I
to the
cheat with
beast
the
levels
beast?
of yeah. 3 rounds, and again, we can. I'll give you the proposed trades that you get. You can even try to propose one if you want, but we are going to go. So I'm going to fire this thing up, and I'll quickly go over the picks that go off the board here, and then we'll put James on the clock. So I'm firing it up. I'm going to let it play out till 14 here, and then we'll see what happens.
Oh Lord, I'm nervous. I'm sweating already.
Here it comes. All right, there it is. Colts are on the clock.
Oof.
You did get an offer. You got three actually at 14, but let me hold on. Let me. Can I click away from this? Hide for a second. Okay, we'll go over the quick picks and then we'll go over the offers. So Cam Ward, number 1 to the Titans. Travis Hunter, number 2 to the Browns. Carter, number 3 to the Giants. Will Campbell, number 4 to the Patriots. Ashton Genty, number 5 to the Jags. This is all playing out kind of like we expected it to. Will Johnson, the corner, at number 6. There's your first big surprise to the Raiders. Mason Graham at number 7 to the Jets. Ted McMillan, the receiver, to the Panthers. Armand Membu to the Saints at 9. Mike Green to the Bears at 10. And to break your all hearts, Tyler Warren, number 11 to the 49ers.
Ah!
Shamar Stewart off the edge to the Cowboys. Defensive tackle Derek Harmon to the Dolphins with the Colts on the clock. So to go over the kind of the guys, you can take Shedeur Sanders. I know you said Ballard wants a quarterback in
Oh
the first
Lord, have
round.
mercy. Wouldn't that be
Uh,
something?
Jalen Walker is there, but again, a little maybe probably an imperfect fit. Kelvin Banks could be a good fit. He plays tackle guard, kind of gives you some flexibility there. To maybe can play at guard right away, play tackle if things don't work out with Braden Smith, down the future. Colston Loveland is obviously there. That's on the
Jahad Campbell.
Jahad Campbell is on. Sorry, I was going to pull this up for you. Yes, Jahad Campbell is on the board. I think that's probably the only
Okay. Okay.
defensive player. I think I mean, Jahadi Barron is interesting at corner.
Okay.
Malachi Starks, obviously. There's some. That's it. But yeah, they'd be offensively.
Okay.
Banks, Loveland on the board. Trey Booker, if you want to go guard, on the board. And then let me pull up your trade offers. You got an offer from the Bears. They really want you to slide back. I'm not going to let you take this one. This one's no fun. So they want 14 and 80 for 39-41.
Yeah. Boo.
And a
No. No.
second
No.
round pick. Rejecting. All right. We're rejecting that one. All right. Next one is from the Houston Texans. An in division trade. This one is interesting. They want to give you 25, 58, and 89 for 14. So that's interesting. 25,
Ooh.
58, and 89. And then the last offer. Oh, geez. The Giants are trying to get back into the first round. They're coming to get their quarterback here. It's 34, 65, 99, a second
Boo.
next year, and a fourth next year.
Get them out of my sight.
Rejecting that one? Okay. All right.
Rejecting
So you
that
got
one.
Houston,
Whoo.
25, 58, and 89.
Mm.
It's interesting
For 14.
for 14 only. It's in division trade.
I'm taking it.
You're taking it. All right.
I'm taking it.
Let's see who they. I'm accepting the offer.
Ooh.
They took Kelvin Banks. They need offensive line help desperately, and you just helped them get it. So there you go. So that's again. We'll see if
Oh,
you're going to pay for that.
I think I am.
Oh boy. Oh, oh, James. I think you nailed this. Hold on. Oh, you got an offer from the Jags. Apparently, these in-division trades are not going to go away. 36 and 88 for 25,
No,
but I don't
no,
think you're going to want to take it
nope.
because Mr. Colston Loveland is still on the board. It
Oh,
it
see,
it
this feels
went.
like a miracle.
It feels Kelvin Banks, Jahade Barron to the Falcons,
Okay.
Michael Williams. I'll just keep going. Tyler Booker, Shador Sanders went 18 to the Seahawks. Fascinating. Nick Manwari, the safety from South Carolina, went to the Bucks. Then Jalen Walker, then Gray Zabel, Matthew Golden, Nick Scorton, and Trey Amos. That was a kind of a shock from the Vikings, who don't need a tight end. So, yes, you get Colston Loveland is sitting on the board. I don't. Do you need any? Do you even need to hear any other options? Are you
I
just Jahad
mean,
Campbell? Jahad Campbell's still there too.
I
So
know, I know he's still there, but I got to go Colson Loveland for that value. And maybe in all seriousness, does the shoulder factor into anything or something like that, or is it just the positional fit? And also, keep in mind with this mock draft simulator, it's a simulator for a reason. There's
yes,
times where I'm like, I don't know if this will happen in real life, but for the sake of my draft, give me Colson Loveland, baby. That
Colston
shoulder's
Loveland
gonna
here.
be feeling fine by about August till the combine. He'll be full contact around the end of August. September is coming up for the season. He'll be good to go. We got our tight end.
I'm, I forgot to do it.
Oh,
There it goes. There's the chime, and Colton Levin is the pick. Now, before I make the pick, actually, just out of curiosity, with these extra picks that you have, 45, 58, 80, 89, is there any interest in trying to trade up if Campbell falls a little bit here? Before, like I said, this simulator moves, so I don't want to hit the,
I
I don't want to hit
know.
the button yet.
I'm gonna say no, but I'm
No.
interested to see if I would
Okay. I'll let you know if he
possibly
gets through the
trade
first
up
round.
for like would I possibly trade up for somebody like Mason Taylor if he's still available in the second round? Like I don't know. We'll see. But I'm liking where I'm at. I'm liking where I'm at.
All right. Pierce, Jahad Campbell was 27, Walter Nolan, Malachi Starks, Josh Connerly, Donovan Izuruku. I always screw up his name. All right, so we're moving on here. I don't think any of the guys that you were hoping would fall fell. I mean, at least not some of the first round names. But you're coming up on what is it actually a Colts pick at 45. You got an offer from the Cardinals. It's pick 47 and a seventh round pick. So whatever. I'm gonna reject that one.
Yeah, no, I don't want that.
To slide two picks back for a seventh, and then the Giants keep calling you. They want to move up 20 spots with an offer of a second round pick next year. Might be more interesting in real life, but again, I'm not letting you
Yeah,
take
nah,
picks
we're
now.
not doing that in the future
Yeah.
stuff.
So Mason Taylor is on the board, but you did draft a tight end, so there's probably less urgency at that point.
I know, I know. I'm tempted to double dip, but I won't do it. Colson Loveland is my guy.
I'm
Who's
sorry.
available
Yeah,
still?
I'm sorry. Your boy Travion. I know. Like I said, I'm gonna treat your boy Travion Henderson is not around. Is not there.
Woo, you
Uh,
know me. I love me some Trevion Henderson now.
Caleb, if you're looking at running backs, there's the top two. Caleb Johnson, Mike, I like him from Iowa a lot, and Quinshon Junkins from Ohio State are still on the board. We're gonna pull up the tackles. Oh man, some of these names are really hard to say. Aaron Tate Ursery, the tackle from Minnesota, is there. Marcus Mabeau from Purdue is there as well. He plays tackle guard. I think the guy you've mentioned a bunch. There's a couple of guys in here that you've come up a lot in your big boards. Jonah Savine, I want to say, from
Yeah, from
Arizona, the guard,
Arizona.
and
Yeah.
then a much easier name to say, Tate Ratledge is there from Georgia. So there's those guys, and then defensively, there's some interesting guys here. Kenneth Grant, a defensive tackle. Tyleik Williams, a defensive tackle. Landon Jackson, and then Carson Schlesinger, the linebacker from UCLA.
He's a good player. I like
Yeah, I
him.
was gonna say it has a lot. There's a lot to like about him. I'm gonna look it up real quick and see where he is on Dane's. I think he's pretty high up on Dane's. Yeah,
I
he's
want to
number
say that Kenneth
38.
Grant is pretty high too.
I know.
Yeah, he's a
Um,
hell of a. He's a. I think he's gonna be a first round pick in real life.
Dane has
Fun
Carson
fact: I
Schlesinger.
covered Kenneth Grant in high school when he was in high school.
Well, then this is a personal pick for you. Then we might
I
have to.
know. I'm not letting the
Yeah.
heart get in the way though.
Um, Azariah Thomas, Benjamin Morrison are still on the board, but those might be picks for a little bit later. And then Andrew Makuba, who is the Texas safety, but again, I don't think that's where you're at. It looks like I'm guessing you're probably on Carson Schlesinger, um, Kenneth Grant on defense, and then on offense, I would think one of those guards
My
slash tackle.
thing with Kenneth Grant is, like he's a starter.
Yeah.
So where do I plug him in if I got Grover and Buck?
I think it's one of those good problems to have, no? I mean,
Yeah.
I know I Kenneth Grant it's a great value. God, he's 21 too. So like
I think I got to roll with him.
I love it. I can say I kind
Yeah,
of I mean
I
take a
got to roll
strength of
with him.
strength. I kind of love it. And again,
He is good.
you've highlighted it multiple times throughout this process. Like Grove's great, Buck is great, but they're both what 31, right?
Both
So
31.
yeah.
Kenneth Grant,
And
my
look,
my buddy.
this is the luxury pick you get to make when you trade back.
Exact. Come on down, brother.
Kenneth
And
Grant.
then
Oh,
Chris Ballard in the trenches.
okay. Hold on. I gotta keep pulling this up. I'm doing it.
I don't know if I can
There it
hear
is.
it. Okay.
You can hear. I don't. Can you not hear? I'm putting it up to the microphone. I don't
I
even know if
can't
you can
hear
hear
it.
it. Oh, okay. Well, this is not great. This is bad. This is bad podcasting then. Uh.
Our bootleg draft.
All right. All right. Here we go. We're moving on. Ursary just went. Benjamin Morrison just went. Caleb Johnson, our guard from Arizona, whose name I won't say. Ratledge just went. Uh-oh.
Oof. Okay.
All right. Trade offer from the Saints, 71 and 112 for 58. Eh.
Nah. I'll pass on that.
All
We've
right.
got enough draft capital so far.
I will say Schlesinger is still on the board. Um, let's say, all right,
Ooh.
I'm moving on from at this point. I don't think defensive tackles in range. You got Princely, oh, gosh, man, some of these names. Melian from Ole Miss. Edge. He's the top rated edge on at least on this board. Schlesinger's still on the board. No, none of the corners that I feel like you've highlighted
And
at
this
this
is
point.
pick number.
Number 58. This is the one of the one. This is the one of the ones you got in the trade with the
Yeah,
Texans.
give me Schlesinger.
That's it. Okay, I like this pick.
Yeah, I gotta help out. Rangy linebacker, cover guy. I know he only had like one really big year of production, I believe, or 2 years actually, at UCLA. But he's gonna reunite with Laiatu Latu from the West Coast.
All
So
right, you hit Colston. So far, your draft has been Colston Loveland, Kenneth Grant, and Carson Schlesinger, which I really like. This is a really good draft. You're having a great draft, sir.
cooking
Especially.
with gas, baby. Oh yeah, oh yeah.
All right, your next pick is 80. You're almost on the board, and here we are. You got a trade offer from the Saints, 93 and 131 for this pick.
Hang up on them.
Okay, Browns at 94 and 104 for 80 and your fifth next year.
I
Thinking,
would never do a deal with the Browns. They're a terrible franchise. I feel like
right,
anything you do with them is bad juju. Nope, can't do it.
okay, all right. So where are we looking now? I mean, before I start kind of giving you the best available,
I would say I'm trying to look for that offensive line at this
Got it.
point. I
Okay.
want to maybe right tackle, right guard, swing tackle. Maybe not a swing tackle. I'm looking for a starter. So
Okay, well,
probably more guard, right guard. If there's some on the board.
let me pull something up. All right. So the guards on the board, and again, you can check with Dane on this. Is your draft guru, but Miles Frazier is the top-rated guard from LSU. Dylan Fairchild, Jackson Slater, Garrett Dellinger, and then I believe Bryce Cable popped up on your top 40, if I remember correctly. And then I'll swing over the tackles just to make sure. Charles Lunt is in here. Charles Grant is in here. I think Lunt is highly rated on the old Dane Brugler big board. If I'm
You
not,
said Miles Frazier is still there.
Miles Frazier is still there. Is he? Where is he at popping up on?
He's popping up as a third round
Oh,
pick.
yeah, an 81 on the big board. I'm sorry, on Dane Brugler's big board.
Okay.
And you're at pick number 80, so it does fit.
Oof. I'm looking through his
Yeah,
his history right now,
reading
making
through.
sure. I'm looking.
Oh, I like that. I'll give while James is looking, I'll give you the quick summary from Dane. Frazier has an NFL body with mauling play strength and competitive toughness, which gives him starting potential. If he can find improved consistency to mask his average athleticism, he best fits the teams that prioritize size and mass. Average
Yeah.
athleticism might not be a Chris Ballard thing, but I don't know.
I'm looking at it. He's played a ton of games at right guard, has some experience at left tackle, experience at left guard, experience at right tackle. He's been solid, and it looks like he has a pretty good reputation as well.
Wait, I'm sorry. I don't know where. I mean, Dane doesn't like his athleticism, but let me give you the full sales pitch here. Miles Frazier has a 9.55 RAS.
Oh, bring him on down. Bring him on down.
I think I locked it in for you.
Yeah. You buried the lead there. Oh, yes.
I did. And the pick.
So I got my offensive line together. Yeah, we found our Will Fries replacement, hopefully. Okay.
Miles Frazier. You got one pick left, sir. It's coming in at 89. And you've hit,
Okay.
I would say, look, I mean, looking at the team needs, you've hit them all. You got the tight end, you got the tackle, You got one trade offer I'm rejecting. We're not drafting that far down. All right, so you got the tight end and Colson Lovin at 25. A
Okay.
defensive tackle is a luxury pick. A Kenneth Grant at 45, a great value there.
Yeah.
Carson Twessinger at 58, also a great value pick. Miles Frazier at guard, and your last pick. So are you looking running
Ooh.
back is what I was wondering?
Yeah. I might be looking at running back because I've hit on. I'm trying to think like would I go cornerback? I'm like, no, I kind of like Jalen Jones. I think he showed me some stuff, and obviously we have Javarius Ward now. I could say we because I'm the GM.
Because you're yeah, for right now
Running
you are.
stuff.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Um,
I'll tell you, the
yeah.
top back is DJ Giddens. Top backs, I should say. DJ Giddens, Cam Scatabo, Ollie Gordon, Damian Martinez. Those are the top running backs on the board. Uh,
Ooh, okay.
let's see, and then yeah, I'm looking. I'm gonna go defense here, just to give you some options. The safeties are Andrew Makuba, interesting one. Shamar Turner, interesting one. Corner wise, Dorian Strong, Zy Alexander.
Mhm.
Those are the corners in case you were still looking at that. But I feel like you're hard set on a running back here. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like I'm not interesting you. I mean, the safety is interesting. Makuba is. I know he's kind of a controversial pick. I know there's like a lot of differences on how good he actually is. RAS is only 5.12 though, so he's probably off the board for you.
How's my Damian Martinez RAS?
Let me look. 8.19. I think he fits. I mean, it's not.
Yeah, and I'm looking at Brugler's breakdown. It says he has, pretty good frame to be a pass blocker, best pass hitting
Ooh,
back during the Senior Bowl.
oh, Senior Bowl
Ooh,
guy too. That does feel like
yeah,
a Ballard pick.
bruising runner. Could I probably want a little upside there with passing as a pass catcher.
I'm wondering.
Um,
Yeah, yeah.
ooh, you know what?
Making him the pick, or I'm gonna pull up what Scatabo
I
is
know. I was thinking about him too. Like he's a
7.45 on the RAS, so definitely a little bit better with oh, I'm sorry, a little bit better with the Damian Martinez, and then Giddens is at 9.78, but I'm not sure where he is on Dane's board.
yeah. I'm trying to see
I don't.
Cam Scatterbo.
Oh,
Oof.
Giddens is I think Giddens it might be higher. Let's see.
Cam Scatterboo, and he can do everything. He has a lot of he had a lot of tread on the tires though.
Yeah, a little older
Um,
too. I think he's 23.
yeah, he's an older guy. Versatile skill set. Let's see. Why are different
Giddens is a big
elements?
boy, 6 foot 212. Um,
Hmm. Drops
He's
his
got him
back.
right behind Scatabo. Dane has him right behind Scatabo in his rankings. So yeah, I mean, good RAS though, 9.78.
Oof, I'm looking at him right
Good,
now.
good, good pass catcher. At least from the scouting report.
Yeah,
So that's,
pretty good pass catcher. Good RAS. How's he as a blocker?
oh, I bet that's usually the downfall of most running backs at
Yeah,
this point.
core and technique. Just one pass catcher. Fluid. Doesn't have graded onto the blank. You know what? I'm going to go with a dog. Give me Cam Scattaboo.
I love it.
Give me a dog.
There he goes. That's the last pick. I'm
Yeah, we
gonna
talk about
say.
mentality, competitiveness. This guy does it all. He passes, he runs. Is he a great speed guy? But no, he finds ways to get it done. So I'm going to roll with him.
I love it.
All right.
You did.
Whoo!
You did good. Colston Loveland, Kenneth Grant, Carson Twessinger, Miles Frazier, Cam Scatabo. I think you drafted maybe at least two starters with Loveland and Schlesinger, maybe a potential starter in Miles Frazier, and then a future. I mean, rotational player in Kenneth Grant behind two of your star defensive tackles, and then Scatabo, who's going to find the field behind Jonathan Taylor. I like this draft. I think you did well. This. I'm not going to say this is an ideal draft, but it's pretty damn close. I love it. I love where you
It's
came out on this.
perfect. It's Ballard. If you listen and subscribe to the podcast, brother, I'm giving you all the blueprint. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what? I might walk up to the Colts facility right now and say, "Show me a big board."
I'll just show you the picture.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I got it done. So, um, hopefully you all enjoyed this exercise. Great idea, Jim. I have to give you credit for that. That was fun. That was unique. You know what? I might actually steal part of this and see if I, want to do this again, as a yearly type of thing for the pod. Assuming we get a chance to continue to cover the Colts drafts, that'll be really fun because this was fun. it was also cool to have another person because when I'm doing it on my laptop, it's not as fun and I have the banter or you're telling me what's good or what's not bad because I felt like you were kind of my my other person in the room, in part of my war room. It's like, no, we're not taking that trade. We're gonna stay here. So um, that
Just
was
an
fun.
advisor. Just an advisor.
Exactly, exactly. So yeah, I mean, Jim. I don't know if what you got planned for the rest of the day, but play lottery or something like that because the way you set that thing up and the way the board fell, man,
You're
does it get
welcome.
much better than that?
No, I was gonna say I think the value that's the thing. Getting Loveland after a trade back's great. Grant fell, you took him. You took advantage of it. It was the board fell in such a way that you got to take advantage not only of value but at positions of need. Linebacker, even defensive tackle. Again, I think is going to be not a position of need this year, but in the future. Obviously, the tight end pick. Miles Frazier, I think, was a nice value pick at 80. Can slot him in. I don't know. I feel good about it. I feel really good about it. You're right. I drew up that board perfectly for. I wish I could say I cheated for you, but I didn't. That was just the way. That was just first sim. That's the way it fell.
Look,
So
you get what you give. When I put out good energy, it came back to me. But yeah, thank you all for listening. Again, feel free to check out all of our pre-draft coverage at The Athletic. There's plenty of stuff there already, plenty of stuff coming. I'm gonna enjoy this Wednesday where I get to just, sleep. Honestly, I'm gonna make sure I go to bed on time. I'm not the best at that, Jim. I know you probably see some of my tweets like, why is this guy watching a Clippers game at the crack of dawn? But I'll get some rest because Thursday is the day for the draft. And as always, thank you all for listening. And until next time, my friends.